wow. So I started watching, and it's like seeing your doppelganger. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk today about time travel, specifically the kind that you go through when you travel through your computer storage and you find the old catacombs of files that just take you somewhere. Let's go for a walk. So as many people who make videos for their channels know, there is a point where all those episodes that you're making tend to take up a lot of space and you gotta transfer it out, which I have been doing. And I thought that was the end of it. This year I've made, I don't know if I'm pushing 70 or 80 episodes so far. And some of them are a little more high production than others. But it's a lot, and my computer kept giving me that familiar warning that you are running out of disk space. And so I dusted off my old lacy external hard drive and I started transferring them. I made a routine. Every time I'd be editing, I would maybe take 5 files or 6 files, 10 files, and just like transfer them over. At least for a time it had been working. And I kept getting this strange warning. And there was a point where I think I only had 5 of my episodes left on my computer. And why was it still telling me this? And so I would go into I'd be finding the storage settings on my computer, and I would start finding old files. I remember I was so frustrated one night that I just got obsessed, as one does. And I start finding some of the most random old stuff from, 2004 or 2006. I found some of my ex's files, because there was a point where we used to have just one computer and we would share it. And so I was finding so much stuff, like her old auditions. I was finding videos of our now deceased cat when she was a kitten. I am not getting rid of those. But actually, that's a great example of how this very technical task, which was bringing up this frustration, was bringing up all these other emotions, like where the time goes. How did you get where you got to? Look at your life now. Look at your life then. I am so happy I am here. I am so sad that I am here. And I was so happy then, or I was so sad then. And it's funny, the things that you just naturally don't keep in mind, that you don't remember. You don't remind yourself because you're on that kind of hamster wheel. And then you go through some kind of process of deep cleaning like this. It could be when you are about to leave the house that you've lived your whole life in, and then you're in a zone, and then you find that little box of photographs and you stop what you're doing and you fall to your knees and just let time do its thing, and you just sit and pour through this journey that you've been on, told in a little storybook of photos that you thankfully saved. And that's kind of what I have been experiencing. And so that was like, that at first happened last week. And I actually, randomly, we had wound up having a phone call the day before, and then this all comes up. These are the kind of like little gifts that you get. And they've all kind of been, it's been a very haunting time. All these, because of course you get all these ancillary ghosts that come up when you revisit the past in an intense way for a few days like that. Well, anyways, I've kept vlogging and making my stories and making my paintings. And then I would keep getting this warning that I had limited disk space. And so then I would go and I'd try to delete more stuff. And I was like, well, I can't just be like obsessively like sitting down and making these sessions of, hi there, morning. Those dogs again, love them. you know, you can't every day be finding that needle in a haystack all the time. Sometimes it's good, but I wound up finding some little things online. Like I just kind of grokked the problem, and it was saying that, you know, maybe you want to look at your editor or something. And what I found was that some of this iMovie was, hi there, morning. There's another one there. So cool. It's like not just a morning of beautiful pregnant skies, overcast skies, but we've got these dogs, and they're white dogs. That one was a lab. I think the other two were white retrievers or something. I grew up with labs. Labs are just the best. Retrievers are just on another level. But I am partial to, like, you know, black wolf dogs too. Naturally, of course. Anyway, Grok was telling me, because then I was like, I wanted to specifically say, what happens if you do iMovie? Because I used to do fancy editors for my little productions, but I have since, just because with vlogging, you're not doing a big production. You just kind of like pointing, shoot, grab it and go, sharing your thoughts, sharing your feelings, getting out there. You can do some edits, but you don't need to do something crazy. So I was basically doing iMovie. Well, and those of you who use iMovie probably know where this is going. iMovie is very diligent in saving your videos. And if you don't know about that, that's kind of a thing to find. So then I started to learn about where iMovie is storing it. And there's the projects tab, there's the media tab. The projects is what I always see. But then I looked at media. iMovie's backed up pretty much everything I've ever filmed. It's not only got all my vlog episodes still, I mean, that's like 60 or 70 vlog episodes, but it's also got my past productions that I've done on there before I went to the fancy editor. It's got audition videos from the acting days a long time ago. Wow. So I started watching, and it's like seeing your doppelganger. You know, it's one of the things when you're an actor, you're working on a certain look for a certain character. And I must have spent a half hour. I would have spent longer if I wasn't getting wise to my tendencies here. But I was just looking at this guy. I mean, he's, you know, points where he's like, he's got a beard, he's unshaven, he's 5 o'clock shadow, he's bulked up, or other ones he's skinny, or other times he's like, I remember I was really sick when I did that audition. And it was just wild to see what a life an actor does, how much work you have to do to be ready for this audition, that audition. And to think I was at a point where I was doing like 8 of them a week. I couldn't do anything else, but I can't believe, I mean, I used to do so many of those videos, and they're all there. And it was like seeing, I mean, not just like who I was at that point, but it was also where I was living, what I was going through, who I was seeing. And there was just this wonderful sense of humility. What a life I've had, you know, which is a wonderful feeling. I don't know if maybe you felt that too, but here I am always making these paintings and writing, and the adventure continues. But I came to this wonderful realization, or I would say I've had the realization before, but it was like a further confirmation of it, which is that whenever you pick something and you're afraid to do it because you're feeling like it's going to be too much or you don't have time, you should do it. Especially if you say, I don't have time for that. How would I have to reinvent my idea of time? How would I have to upend my comforts, my tendencies? And then if I was on the other side of accomplishing that and looking back at who I am now, what are the differences? What are the things I will find? And I think it's a small thing, but I think I've always treated my computer as this kind of like no man's land. It's just a means to an end. It completes a certain use that I will, I don't know, use it for what it is. And hi, morning. And I think that having done this, it forced me to just kind of like clear the cobwebs in this little sanctuary. I mean, every one of us, like our computer is our sanctuary. It's kind of maybe it's a depressing thing for a 20th century person, but it's just kind of how it is. And yet there were these places that I was just not really doing deep cleaning on or clearing out. And around New Year's, I swore that this was going to be a different year in a whole new way in terms of my painting and my writing. And I decided that I was going to dive into vlogging. I'd already done blogging, but it just didn't quite take for me. But I figured that, here we are, Augustus, the beautiful Augustus, the great grand king of this foresty area. I wouldn't say it's a forest, but this magical place. I absolutely love this tree. But forget what I was going to say. Okay, I remember what it was. It was that this year was going to be different, and I decided I was going to give a crack at vlogging, and I put all these challenges, do a vlog every day for 30 days. It turned into 60 days, and now it's mutated into all these other things that have sometimes like pulled me back in my progress, in my output, and then other times completely inspired me. It's a learning process. It's a lot of fun. It's great to have you here, by the way. But I think that now, looking back on the other side of that, and that New Year's Eve, and seeing all the gifts I gave to myself, this is a huge one. That here I am going into this thing that's always in the back of my mind. When I see this computer, I'm slightly like, okay, I just need to get what I can and put what I can on there, and maybe I delete some things, and I, maybe clean the desktop. These are like little stupid things that we all do. We all have those things in our lives that we are just kind of putting off, And I never would have thought that taking on this issue was going to upend these other parts of my life and give me perspective on my past going back 10, 15 years. That's a profound thing. And I would say that the nucleus of that was that I just decided I'm going to go do this thing, this vlog. And it just keeps showing me things. And I can already feel, it's pushing me in places that are just constantly scary. And how great is that? As I've said before, and it was told to me by a very wise and wonderful friend a long time ago, if you want to know how to get something done, don't ask someone who's got a lot of time on their hands, ask a busy person. And I felt that with the vlog, my first initial thought was, I don't have time for that. So then I thought, yeah, and that's why I'm going to do it. And it's certainly a learning curve. I am figuring out how to juggle getting a new story written, getting a new video filmed, getting another one edited, getting a new painting made. And it's never ending, but for a guy who's absolutely loving being within nature again, but also kind of misses the hustle and bustle of New York City and the grind of Los Angeles, it is kind of wonderful to, have this thing, this vlogging thing, this YouTube thing, or, you know, this coupled with Substack and all of that. I mean, I'm just as overwhelmed as ever, which is, you know, it's good. This is good value. But you know, I'm excited to have this new film coming, and this Frankenstein with a mermaid. I can't wait to share it with you guys, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I wanted to get on here and just talk about that with the time traveling and committing to something that is ambitious and that is something to do with your passion. And if you are telling yourself the things I did, that it's going to be more time than I have, or it's going to be a whole other thing, ask yourself if you're kind of scared to do it. And then the answer might surprise you, but you go and you commit to that, and before you know it, you're finding all kinds of other stuff that you didn't sign on for, but maybe you find is part of what your life is about. It's very profound. All right, well, pretty soon, The Mermaid and Frankenstein, which is my story of called Mermaids and Monsters Unbound Part 1, which is a play on the phrase Gods and Monsters, which is in the line, which I'll probably talk about in tomorrow's video. I want to do another thing gushing about Mary Shelley's legacy, Frankenstein, and the movies or whatever, as I just get myself all excited for this part 1 video, which I think is probably going to be coming out on Thursday or Friday of this week. So that's pretty exciting. But the kind of mad scientist in the second movie, Bride of Frankenstein, which is the best Frankenstein movie of all of them, in my opinion. He says, with a toast in a crypt, in a tomb, these blue jays today are in full force. Hello, sir. There's, I think, blue jays and squirrels in that bush. But he says, here's to a world. Here's to a new world of gods and monsters. By the way, there's a absolutely wonderful little film. Came out in the late 90s, I believe. Or maybe it was early 2000s, called Gods and Monsters, which is all about James Whale, who is the director of the Boris Karloff Frankenstein movies, the first 2. Gods and Monsters, starring Ian McKellen. Great film. Anyway, yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's great getting this walk this morning. And I will see you guys next time. And enjoy this video. And of course, if you would like to check out the website, ghostinthegaslight.com, you can check out my paintings, my originals. You can check out prints. You can get all kinds of cool swag from Ghost in the Gaslight. There's also my Substack. Feel free to enjoy my ghost stories. And yeah, enjoy this one here.